Hello guys, welcome to another video. First of all, I said that this story doesn't belong to me, so if you want to read the full story for yourself, you can go down in the description to find the link to the original post and read the full story for yourself. That being said, let's get into the video. Legacy, chapter 26 and part 26, searching for the old hag. Otagakure. Orochimaru was cursing every single fiber of Naruto's being. Orochimaru was considering if he should keep Naruto alive for his purpose or kill him for destroying the chakra network on his arm. The moment his chakra network was destroyed, he lost the ability to mold chakra in that arm, preventing him from doing hand seals and as such preventing him from doing any type of jutsus that required any hand seals. Kabuto had studied his arm and tried to heal it, but you cannot heal something that doesn't exist. With his level of knowledge, Kabuto didn't stood a chance at doing anything to heal his master. Of course, Orochimaru had a solution, which was to swap body, but he wanted to wait for a special body that he felt was getting closer and closer. He could feel all of Sasuke's hate and hunger for vengeance, and soon enough he would belong to Orochimaru. I'm sorry, Orochimaru-sama, but this type of wound is beyond me. Kabuto replied sadly, and Orochimaru cursed the blonde. Everything was good until he showed up and the barrier he placed didn't even slow him down, but above else he has the eyes Orochimaru always wanted, the Mongekyo Sharingan. The barrier he had placed didn't even slow him down, but above else he has the eyes that Orochimaru always wanted, the Mongekyo Sharingan. It can't be helped. There is only one person that might be able to heal me, Orochimaru said, sweating. Losing the chakra network in his arms placed him in constant pain as his cells weren't properly fed. And who might that be? Kabuto asked as he pushed the glasses in his face up. My former teammate Senju Tsunade, Orochimaru replied with a glint in his eyes. He knew exactly what it would take to convince her. Contact our spies. We are leaving now, Orochimaru ordered. A few days had passed since Naruto, Hinata, and Jiraiya left in search for Naruto's grandmother Senju Tsunade, so she could return to the village to becomes the Sarutobi's successor as the Kodaime Hokage. The conversation around the village were progressing very well, as they didn't receive much damage. The most important buildings were protected by Naruto's barrier shield, allowing the hospital and other buildings to remain working non-stop. In the middle of Konoha, precisely in Dangostan, that Anko spent most of her time in, were two cloaked men inside, drinking a bit of tea and eating dango since it was a dango stand. Both of them had long, high coat black cloak with red clouds in them. On top of their heads, straw hats with a small bell hanging by a small red wire. These two unknown members actually belong to an organization called the Akatsuki that were after the Bijus like the one in Naruto, but no one knew that. Have you heard the news on civilian arcs? And both Akatsuki members focused on the conversation. Believe it or not, listening to civilian talk is a very good way to scout for information about what the other civilian replied. That brat Uzumaki Naruto is now Senju Naruto. Apparently is the heir to the Senju clan and the grandson of the first Hokage, the civilian said. Did you hear that, Itachi-san? The Akatsuki member asked his partner, now identified as Itachi. Uchiha Itachi, the protege of the Uchiha clan and the one that butchered all of them except his little brother a few years ago. Yes, Kisame, this is this is new revelation. We must inform our leader. Itachi replied in his monotone voice, and Kisame nodded. You don't say, but I thought he was an Uchiha since he has the Sharingan. The civilian replied, and Itachi's eyes widened, revealing a pair of blood eyes with three tomoes in it. I think you missed one a couple years ago. Kisame said, chuckling. It was funny to see at least some emotion coming off from Itachi since he always stoic and didn't say much. Interesting. How can Naruto-kun have the Sharingan? Itachi mustered in thought. I know for certain that I killed all of my clan minus my foolish little brother. Neither Kushina Senpai nor Minato had the Sharingan. Is it the QV? Itachi thought as he ran through all the various scenarios on his head to explain. What are you thinking so hard about? Kisame asked in an amusement tone. I don't understand how could Naruto be an Uchiha? It doesn't add up. Itachi replied, well if you listen to what they were saying, you would know. Apparently, Brad is the grandson of Uchiha Madara. Kisame said, and Itachi froze. He never said anything about having a grandson. If he had a grandson, he could most likely used him to achieve his goal. Kushina Senpai didn't give off chakra similar to an Uchiha, which only leads me to conclude that it was Minato. Itachi thought Minato never showed his Sharingan and yet he was a force to be reckoned with. This description the true despite the true way of the describe description the true way deception the true way of the shinobi. Itachi thought chuckling to himself. He was considered a genius among genius, a prodigy that appears once every 100 years, very similar to Minato, but it appears that Minato won the pool. This is very interesting indeed, Itachi said as they continued to listen to their conversation. A few minutes later, another civilian said something that caught their attention. It's a good thing that the Sandaiman is retiring. He did so much for our village. He deserves to rest, the civilian said. Yes, and the chosen to be yes, and the chosen to be the Goddaime Hokage of Senju Tsunade, the civilian said. Looks like the Hokage title falls into the Senju's once again. The civilian replied, I know. The other replied, chuckling. Jiraiya-sama left with Naruto so they could find her and bring her back. The civilian said, looks like we lucked out. The QB just left town. Kisame said sadly. He was hoping to feed a good portion of chakra to his Samehara. Yes, let's leave before we are discovered, Itachi replied, and both of them stood up and left the stand. Both members were walking through the village, making their way out of the village when they came across with two familiar faces, to Itachi at least. You aren't from this village, are you? Asuma asked, wary of the un, un, unidentified males in front of them. Why are you here? Asuma asked. Long time no see, Asuma-san. Kuronai-san, Itachi said in his monotone voice. If you know who we are, then you must be a shinobi from this village, Asuma said. Itachi simply raised his hat slightly to have allowed them to see his blood-red eyes. The moment they saw his eyes, they both tensed. Uchiha Itachi, Asuma asked, and Itachi dropped his hat and let his hair flow with the wind, locking eyes with the two Jonins in front of them. You know these people, Itachi-san? Kisame asked and also dropped his hat. Then I will present myself. Hoshigake Kisame. A pleasure to meet you, Kisame said. You dare show your face after what you have done? Asuma asked as he kept his guard up, even with Kuronai. He didn't know if he could take him on, and his companion wouldn't help at all. I am going to end you both, Asuma said. Itachi-san, it looks like you are hated in this village, Kisame said, chuckling. I know who you are. Kuronai said, eyeing Kisame. Hoshigake Kisame, former member of the Seven Swordsmen of the Mist. Kuronai informed. You are in a lot of trouble for coming here, Itachi. Asuma said, don't get involved in my org. I have no intention of killing you. Itachi said, you aren't the type of people to return here without a goal. What is it that you are after, you want from the village? You are annoying, Kisame said and took his sword out and hit the guard, making hit the ground, making chakra fly and a bit of dust to rise. Should I kill them? Kisame asked Itachi. It appears we aren't leaving without a fight. Itachi said. The moment Itachi said that, Kisame picked his sword and tried to hit Asuma, who jumped back to avoid. Asuma took out his tense, trench knives and blocked the next sword swing. Kuronai used the cover that Asuma gave her and went through hand seals, disappearing into thin air. Genjutsu, Itachi thought as he used his Sharingan to analyze the battle. Asuma was starting to sweat as he was being pushed by the sword. Kisame was a lot stronger than he let on, and that with only a single hand, my Samehara doesn't cut. It shreds, Kisame said and pulled his sword back, shredding through Asuma's skin and drawing blood, making him wince in pain. Meanwhile, Kuronai had her genjutsu ready. You are late, Kuronai. Kuronai, Asuma said, nursing his arm. The moment Asuma said that, the ground around Kisame started to melt and he was trapped and unable to move. Behind Itachi, a tree suddenly sprouted from the ground and snared him in place. Kuronai emerged from the tree with a kunai at hand, getting ready to kill him. This is the end for you, Kuronai said, and moments later she realized that she was the one who pinned to the tree and was watching Itachi ran towards her with a blade in his hand. Kuronai bit her lips and used the pain to break the illusion. The moment she broke it, the dust under a ducked under a horizontal slash from Itachi's blade. Itachi saw Kuronai duck and gave her a kick that she blocked, but she was sent towards the nearby river nevertheless. Kuronai, Asuma shouted concert with her. You don't have time to look away, Kisame said. Meanwhile, on top of the river, that was very good, Kuronai-san, Itachi said as he quickly approached next to her at the river. But, Itachi said, but was interrupted. But this is the end for you, another voice said from behind Itachi. He turned around to come face to face with Kakashi himself. Asuma was dodging swings after swing until he saw an opening and tried a slash with his knives that gave Kisame a small cut through his cheek. As a reply, Kisame started going through hand seals and said, Water style, water dragon. Kisame said, and from the river a water dragon erupted and went towards Asuma. Out of nowhere came another dragon of equal strength that clashed with one from Kisame, destroying each other. The same jutsu, Kisame asked surprised. Why are you here? Asuma asked. I thought you might need a hand. Kashi replied. Suddenly Itachi hand flew out of his jacket with shurikens ready to throw. Kakashi jumped back and said, Water style, water wall. A water wall rose up around Kakashi, blocking four water drills. Apparently, the shurikens were a mere distraction from Itachi. He's fast. I barely saw the hand seals, Kakashi thought as he analyze the power of powerful opponents in front of him. Very good. You are skilled with that eye of yours. Itachi right before a shadow clone from Itachi came behind Kakashi and stabbed him with a kunai. Kakashi busted into water, revealing into a simple water clone. Water clone. Kisame asked, amazed. He knows so much jutsu from my village. Kisame thought. Itachi was looking for Kakashi when something caught his attention. He looked down only to see Kakashi giving Kurenai a kunai. But the moment Kurenai was about to attack one of Itachi's in the river, Kakashi tackled her just before the clone exploded. Kakashi! Kurenai! Asuma yelled as he also jumped into the river. The water was coming down from the explosion, and showed a lightly scalded Kakashi and unharmed Kurenai and Asuma. Be careful with him. He became an Anbu captain at 13 years old. Kakashi explained, I didn't expect him to be so strong, Asuma said, surprised. No, he hasn't yet shown his true strength. Kakashi explained, you are really skilled with the Sharingan even though you aren't an Uchiha, Itachi said. He is right, I tire easily. Kakashi thought Sharingan, the true power of the Sharingan. I am about to show you why the Uchiha clan was feared and unparalleled in power. Itachi said just before his eyes opened very slowly. This is bad. If his powers are what Naruto told me about, then we are in big trouble. Kakashi thought, guys, close your eyes. No matter what happens, don't open them. Kakashi yelled, stressing every word. Only a Sharingan user can fight him. Kakashi explained. It's true that a Sharingan user can resist it, but you can counter this technique with it. Itachi explained just before he locked eyes with Kakashi. Tsukuyomi. Tsukuyomi world. The moment Itachi pronounced that single word, Kakashi was drawn into another world. The sky was red and the clouds and the sun were black. Kakashi was pierced to a cross, trying his best to break the illusion. Don't overexhaust yourself. This technique is unbreakable. In here, I am God and control everything. 3 days in here are but 3 seconds in the real world. Itachi explained as he had a sword on his hand and was clearly what he was going to do to Kakashi. Suddenly, Itachi stabbed Kakashi in the gut, and he yelled in pain. Itachi suddenly multiplied, and all of them had swords and started stabbing Kakashi as well. 71 hours, 59 minutes, and 59 seconds remaining. Itachi said as Kakashi was healed and he started stabbing again. Real world. 3 seconds later. What happened? Asuma asked as he felt Kakashi wince in pain but didn't know what happened. His mind held on. Kisame asked, surprised to see Kakashi still standing but taking breath, heavy breathing. It seems a miracle that he yet managed to stand. But Itachi-san is dangerous to use those eyes, Kisame said. By the look of it, Naruto was right. Kakashi thought, are you after Sasuke? Kakashi asked, his voice strained by genjutsu he just suffered. No, Itachi replied, we are looking for the Yondame's legacy. Itachi replied in his traditional monotone voice, you are from the Akatsuki, aren't you? Kakashi said, surprising everyone in there. Kisame, we are talking Kisame with us. Kisame, we are taking Kakashi with us. Itachi suddenly said, and Kisame dashed towards him, only to interrupted by a fierce kick from Konoha's green beast. Maito guy! Who are you? Kisame asked as he regained his footing. Konoha's green beast, Maito, Guy. Guy replied with his teeth shining as he took his Goken stance. Look at you. Perhaps you might to say fool. Look at you. Perhaps you meant to say fool. Kisame taunted, but Itachi cut him off. Don't underestimate him. Suddenly Kakashi fell to the water and started sinking only to be caught by Guy. Open your eyes, Guy said to Asuma. Open your eyes, Guy said to Asuma and Kurenai. But Kakashi, Kurenai said but was cut off. Just don't look at his eyes, focus on his legs and arms, and fight from there. Guy explained as they both opened their eyes, but it seemed that they were always drawn to lock the eyes with Itachi. Easier said than done, Asuma said. Kisame, we are leaving. We didn't come here to start a war. Itachi said, and they both disappeared in a blur. They are gone. I am taking Kakashi to the hospital, Guy said and disappeared as well with Sasuke. Sasuke was currently in the Uchiha compound in one of the many training grounds, taking out his frustration on some unlucky wooden dummy. He was frustrated from everything he learned during the council meeting. Naruto was just seemed to have everything. Sharingan, Sasuke remembered as he drove a fist through the wooden dummy, destroying the right arm. Uchiha Madara, Sasuke remembered as he gave an open palm strike and shattered the dummy's head. Senju, Sasuke remembered and gave it a spin kick and destroyed both legs, leaving only the torso left. Senju, Sasuke remembered and gave it a spin kick and destroyed both legs, leaving only the torso left. Pure blood. Sasuke snitched and charged the Chidori and completely obliterated the dummy, leaving nothing but bits and chunks on the ground. The once mighty wooden dummy was no more. Sasuke took a couple of deep breaths, trying his best to calm himself. He went towards his house to take a bath to clean the sweat of the training session until he remembered something. When you awaken your Sharingan, go to the main house and look beneath the seventh tatami mat from the far right. That is where our clan meets. Our clan used to meet. In there, you will find your answers. Sasuke remembered one of the last things Itachi ever said to him just after he massacred the clan, leaving only him behind. Sasuke quickly made his way towards the main hall. Since his clan dissembled, the only used his house, and the other buildings were just gathering dust. He quickly arrived at the main house and made his way towards the meeting hall. He counted the seven tatami mats from the far right. He removed the seventh, and beneath it was a small staircase that seemed to go in deep beneath the main building. He quickly made his way down, but it was pitch black. He sensed his surroundings and used a small fire jutsu to light the torch. He suddenly came face to face with a big stone wall, and by the looks of it, it seems very sturdy and heavy. But Sasuke noticed the Sharingan design in the middle of it and quickly activated his what seems to be an empty wall now had writing in it. He quickly performed the hand seals inscribed in the wall, and the stone moved to the side, allowing entrance to the chambers. Apparently, only someone with the Sharingan was allowed to enter such place. Sasuke entered the new room and, as he expected, was empty and dark, but the Sharingan enabled him to see better at night, so he found the torches and lit them. The moment the torches flared to life, Sharingan saw a big room with a table in the middle. Behind the table, a wall with the Uchiha fan in it. Sasuke used his Sharingan and looked over very carefully at the table. It seemed that he could only read bits and pieces about it. From what he could read, it's clearly stated that there was another level above the Sharingan. It was the Mongekyo Sharingan, maybe the more advanced the more I can read. The Sasuke pondered in thought as he was using the Sharingan to read what was written in the tablet. Everything the tablet said was exactly like Itachi had said, but about his eyes, Sasuke knew he needed to achieve the next level of eyes so he could go up against his brother and defeat him. Interesting enough, the table said nothing about the half-blood and the pure-blood Uchihas, so Sasuke wondered just how old this table was. I will need to every bit of power I can get to defeat him. With Naruto, Hinata, and Jiraiya, a few days had passed since they left Konoha. As they were going towards the town, Jiraiya had received information from his spy network. According to his spy, Tsunade was last seen in a small town in the land of fire called Tanazuki. One interesting fact is don't for a moment think that Joraiya wouldn't be able to barb around you even when you sleep. This particular fact was a surprise to Hinata and Naruto since both of them got a room for them and Joraiya was left alone to him. Joraiya, being the pervert that he is, thought that Naruto might be getting some action with his girlfriend and as such used his inflection jutsu and inflicted Naruto's room with notepads ready to write. Not a good idea to try and spy on someone who has the Sharingan and the Byakugan that can spot anything using chakra. As such, he was once again in the receiving end of Hinata's Jugen Jutsu technique and Naruto's defensive shield zapping the poor pervert. They were approaching the town Jiraiya heard about. They have been walking a couple of minutes now and they were starting to see the town on the horizon. This town was famous for a huge castle in the middle. So Naruto, are you working on some new jutsu? Joraiya asked, wanting any juicy details. If he had the same mind as his father, then any technique would be worth learning. Actually, yes, I'm working on recreating the lightning armor since I saw the basic bases during the battle against Orochimaru. I can already channel lightning chakra through my synapses to further enhance my reaction time, but the outer shell is a bit tricky. Naruto explained and Jiraiya was stunned. You do realize that's an S rank jutsu, right? Jiraiya asked. I know. That's why I'm trying to recreate it. I think I am rather good with lightning jutsu. I will get it down eventually, Naruto said, and Jiraiya nodded. His father was the same when he got some jutsu idea on his head. It would stay there until solved. How about in the meantime you improve the Rasengan? Jiraiya said and Naruto got confused look. Improve? My father's note didn't say anything about a better Rasengan. Naruto said and Jiraiya nodded. Your father created the Rasengan intending to add his elemental affinity to it, but it might be a jump to do that yet. So why don't you try to make a bigger Rasengan by pouring more chakra into it? Jiraiya said and Naruto pondered the Rasengan by itself an A rank jutsu. If he created a bigger one, it would go towards S rank and adding elemental, it would most likely be a one-shot kill. And Oda Rasengan? Naruto asked. Naruto asked for confirmation and Jiraiya nodded. So I just poured more chakra into it. Naruto asked and Jiraiya nodded again. How much more? Asked Naruto. How about you try with twice the chakra and go from there? Jiraiya said and Naruto nodded. As they were rocking, Naruto decided to try and do a big Rasengan. They were rocking and Naruto was focusing chakra to his hand. He started spinning the first round of chakra and immediately created a layer of composure, compressed it, and easily reached the normal Rasengan. He started pouring more chakra into it, and the ball started glowing even more. Sensing no strain in controlling it, he tried to add chakra and was very easily reaching the double the normal chakra. He was about to tell Joraya he managed to twice the amount when the Rasengan suddenly destabilized and exploded in his hand. The result of the explosion created a shock wave that sent everyone tumbling to the ground as they didn't expect the backlash from the jutsu. His Rasengan seemed just fine a few months ago. Damn it, brat! Joraya said. How about you train it away from us? Hinata asked and got up and dusted off her clothes. My bad, Naruto said, chuckling and rubbing the back of his head. We are almost at the town. How about you keep training for later? Jiraiya said. Away from us. Jiraiya stressed and Naruto's sweat dropped. It was a little shockwave after all. Fine, Naruto said, pouting as he couldn't train his new jutsu right away. He might be strong, but he's still a brat, Jiraiya said, shaking his head. But he isn't strong enough to take on Kage-level shinobis alone. Though he has techniques to run away. Jiraiya thought as he was thinking on what to teach Naruto. They arrived at the gate and entered the city. Hinata and Naruto were marveled by all the activity going on and all the people having activity going on and all the people having fun in the various stands available. They didn't leave the village much and only started after they become genin. Let's go to a hotel and sleep the night. We will start searching tomorrow. Joraya started and they both nodded. They were calmly walking through the town, completely unaware of true presence after them. They were keeping their distance and suppressing their chakra levels so don't be detected. Looks like the information was accurate. He did leave the village with Joraya and but I don't know the girl, Kisame said as he watched the three of them check into a hotel. The girl's name is Hyuga Hinata and she is the youngest of Hyuga but was expelled from the clan. Itachi calmly explained. She doesn't seem like much, Kisame said as he watched her. She seemed to be fragile like a doll. We are shinobi, don't underestimate her. She was promoted to tune in along with Naruto-kun. We don't have much information on her, so stay careful. Even if she seems like weak, Itachi explained. He was always the proud one, while Kisame tended to jump in gun blazing. Fine, but even we can take on Jiraiya. But fine, but even we can take on Jiraiya. Kisame said. Indeed, let's find some girls. Itachi said, and Kisame's jaw dropped. You want to get laid? Kisame asked, and Itachi got tick mark. I heard about Jiraiya's obsession for women. It's our best choice to distract him long enough for us to get Naruto-kun, Itachi explained and Kisame nodded. What about the girl? Kisame said. She is irrelevant, although it appears that Naruto is really close to her. Noticed how he was walking close to her, yet he is slightly ahead of her, as if shielding her shielding her, and he's ready to jump into action at any time. Itachi analyzed. He seems close to her, so we might use it for our advantage, Itachi said, and Kisame nodded. Let's go, Kisame said, and the word disappeared in a blur. That's all for this part. I hope to see you in the next video. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye bye.